Hello, my name is Peter West with West Networks, and today I'm going to show you how to manually create a SpeedFusion profile for your peplink router. There's two ways to create profiles. One is via in control, and the other is manually. And so the idea is you have your balance router, either a Fusion Hub or balance router in your headquarters or central location, and then you have your branch office or remote location you're trying to connect in. So once again, this video is going to be demonstrating how to do it manually. So in this example, I have two routers. I have an SDX and then I have a Transit Duo. The SDX local ID is SpeedFusion Gainesville 02. The Transit Duo is simply Transit Duo. So I'm going to create a new profile in my data center. I'm going to call this Transit Duo. I can choose my encryption level here, either 256-bit AES or off. The 256-bit AES does incur a little extra packet overhead, so you will have a little bit less performance, but you get increased security. So here I'm going to put in my remote ID, which is Transit Duo, which I can grab right here. And then I could put in the remote IP address, but because the Transit Duo is cellular, I'm going to leave this blank. And say if I have a whole bunch of Transit Duos, I could actually allow remote shared ID. This would allow me to have multiple Transit Duos connecting into this network. I can also enable NAT mode, which will allow me to NAT the remote devices to an untagged LAN if I wanted to. And then I've got my data port, so I can do either a custom port or auto. Auto is port 4500 or 32015, and then custom, you can specify the port specifically. I can also click the question mark, click here to configure the stream protocol, and change it from either UDP or TCP. So if I want to specify what type of traffic the VPN creates. And then additionally, I can then set the bandwidth limit. So if I want to limit this to 10 megabits of download and 10 megabits of upload, I could do that right here by limiting the throughput. We can also use enable our WAN smoothing technology, which sends parity bits. So it's kind of like a RAID array for your WANs. So if you have 3 or 4 WANs and you do it on normal, you're going to use some of your data, more of your data, the maximum number of data, and then the most data. And the idea with WAN smoothing is to decrease the risk of packet loss and decrease your latency. Forward error correction is really built for the video conferencing or video streaming, and it's designed to use less bandwidth than the WAN smoothing, but still offer that single stream redundancy and packet loss protection. And then here I can set the priority of my WAN circuits. So I'm going to turn all this back to default for the purpose of this video. Okay, so here's my default. And hit save. So now on my data center, I have my Transit Duo profile set up. I hit apply changes. And then on my Transit Duo, now I've got to add the tunnel to my Transit Duo. So here I'm going to click on the site. I'm going to type in SpeedFusion GNV-02, which is my remote site. And you don't have to do it that. You can name it whatever you want. The local and remote IDs are case sensitive. So this one's a lowercase SpeedFusion GNV-02. So I need to make sure that my remote ID is SpeedFusion GNV-02. I can also set a pre-shared key here if I wanted to. So for example, I could put in a pre-shared key, but in this particular example, I do not have a pre-shared key. Then I'm going to put in my remote IP address, so the IP address of the SDX router, which in this case I've just used the find my peplink device. So I SpeedFusion GNV-02.mypep.link. So when you're creating the tunnel on a remote site, you give a profile name, SpeedFusion, remote ID, which is the local ID of the remote device you're connecting to. In this case, it's SpeedFusion GNV-02, the remote IP. And then you do not want to enable NAT mode. If you do NAT mode, it's going to be a reverse NATL, and that's not going to work. And then you can put a cost to it. Your data port, once again, you can do TCP, UDP, or a custom port. You can set your bandwidth limit, your WAN smoothing, your forward error correction, your buffer, and then select your WANs. I hit save and apply changes. And then if I go to my dashboard, you'll see that the VPN is established. So now I need to set policies to use the SpeedFusion. Just because it's set up, all this means is that there's a VPN set up, so I can now use this to send traffic. Because once again, the PepLink is a multi-WAN traffic shaping device. So now I'm going to go to my advanced, and there's a couple options. One, I can say send all traffic to. You see that? So I can say send all traffic to SpeedFusion Gainesville, and then set service. This is going to send all traffic from the Transit Duo to my SpeedFusion cloud. If I don't want to do that, I can hit save. I can turn that off, and I can create an outbound policy that only sends specific traffic over. So I can add a rule that says SpeedFusion, and I can say any priority SpeedFusion, and then remove the rest of these. I like this better than the send all in some cases, because what this does is I'm saying send over my profile SpeedFusion. If the source is any, the destination is any, the protocol is any, priority SpeedFusion, and then fail through the next rule. If for whatever reason the SpeedFusion tunnel isn't created, it's just going to use whatever internet's available. So this is kind of like a different way to create those policies. You can also create policies destination via domain name or IP address. So if you only want to send specific destination like a VoIP server or to a cloud provider or a host name, you can say send it over the host name and send it over SpeedFusion, the VPN SpeedFusion if you want. I recommend the priority but functionality there. So just so you know that you need to enable the use of SpeedFusion after you create the profile, and I'll create a whole nother video on outbound policy, but I wanted to make sure that at least the usage of the tunnel is part of this discussion. Thank you very much and have a nice day.